Hello, this is Dr. Josina Agnieszka Chevalier. I was talking about two conditions, stalking and obsessive love disorder. Solution to that, let's review again, is analysis of own mind to search for instances of wanted in pleasure, love making with particular individual defined as stalker or as being infatuated in sexual adoration or such expectance, impeding in such in own mind real life physical relationship or pursuit of another, being in own mind in a opposition or preventing from love making with another person, or in mind preventing love and sexual arousal because of need to have in that person similarities, that other person being source of such to the other person to be able to obtain satisfaction that needs to be consciated. Persons sometimes seek for such and impede relationships, pursuing, insisting that they are loved, when there is at least one relationship or an instant of relationship that was satisfactory, meaning caused gratefulness and fascination, love for gender specific characteristic of an opposite gender person, wanting that person, causing orgasm by own physical presence and actions, that is untrue that the prior person is source of such love and desire. And therefore, if that person is immature and has had relationship in less to own pleasure intensity, that person is wanted or desired or impeding such. Realization of that person of such causes lack of own possibility of appreciation for that person in sexual arousal and love towards that person because of presence of at least one person that provided such in reciprocity. And so that is what differentiates and is defined of degeneration, or being boring also for women, old shrew, in men being deviant, also degenerate, or person that for sure will hurt you, that is often a common denominator. The memory marker of that person of being loved and causing orgasm to a female that became a mother of that of children of that man, or not, or became a in such lifelong wanted and loved partner in reciprocity, and living such in reciprocity as being in love and being in love in such orgasmic pleasure to self in mind and body combined, consists of remembered in mind obstacle to pursue relationship with person who looks alike or prior to that rejected, did not pursue, or offered something less. And that is then to realize that and stop impeding those persons from normal functioning when they defend selves from less serious relationships impossible to pursue because of remembering of being loved and such possibility with person who is capable of such, and self being capable of such, which is not true toward past ever. And therefore we do not force, because it becomes based on convenience, persons from the past when the sexual activity and love derived from such physical love is not source of mutual adoration and therefore source of possibility of wanted children, and if not children, source of lasting bonding sexual activity and adoration, because the person is source and not child as a project. So we covered now what degenerate means. Okay, now when a person that is immature, or in videos often denominated the jovencitas, or lover material, or person youth ones, virgins, and all those women that also are considered capricious, or not wanting to have sex, flirting with many persons. All those instances when parents or caregivers are worried, concerned and ask who can become a partner. A partner of that person, sexual and a loving one, regardless of age or of that person's relationship status, can become lifelong partner, serious one, loving that person to the same degree. It is true for men and women. When inexperience in that other person or lack of such memory markers as a orgasm, one being source of orgasm or the other being source of orgasm witnessed in adoration and pursuit of child, memory of such did not end in visible or possible to envision limitation consisting in pursuit of harm, rejoicing from harm of one another when the other one was not able to the maximum of own capacity provide on survival or provide for self. So envisioning that person not having basic instinct like pursuit of either sexual activity when wanted or offered, or pursuit of well-being and provision, maximum one, as wanted in selfless fashion, as potential parent of own children, that becomes an obstacle that marks that relationship was finite, meaning there is lifelong lasting rejection of such constellation of persons as a couple. And that known in obtention of history, when we know, despite the age difference or difference in maturity, makes a person that is immature yet adores that person in reciprocity in a serious way and desires that person in reciprocity in a serious way as potential for a parent of children of that person, be it male or female, contrasted with signs and symptoms of arousal, sexual one, and love that causes the same at the same time, the closer it is to an actual sexual act that is bonding in pregnancy, in not appreciation but in arousal, sexual pleasure, ecstasy. That is what marks it. And then that young person or inexperienced person can be considered for lifelong partner even of so-called degenerates despite being young. If however that person still lives in mind as ideal, remembered from the past, ongoing lovemaking still lived in the mind, even if that person deceased or was killed at own fault or not, if that person still lives that relationship, then another person pursuing that person risks in self-defense preventative measures to not have sex with that person because that person is binded by instinctive fidelity, sexual fidelity. And that person can become then a loner and live alone, or meet at some point a resolution of such relationship, which means that is resolution of that reciprocity by proof that that person is unwanted, contrasted in reality for life-lasting relationship and children, at least at some point, by that person that that person remembers or fantasizes about. And then that person becomes free of such impediment for persons who do not pose as argument other partners to not pursue. Meaning, we need to understand that to the best of our all as society each benefit, we need to know mind content of the other person and availability in mind of that person, and that is determined by enthusiasm. The closer it is to sexual act and that person, the other person, adoring, wanting such in own arousal, in reciprocity of causing such to self and causing adoration, and the closer it is to fertilization or pursuit of non-stop sexual activity lifelong wise and loving attachment, and therefore provision of all goods as mutual, reciprocal or complementing one another effort, as well as proofs of anxiety and wanting well-being and status of a person safe or recognized, mutual ones, that is considered pride because of consideration as parent of the other one, and vice versa. So that's degenerate. Another term I started about how to resolve stalking and how to resolve the old or obsessive love syndrome. If that person is, again, source of impediment to have real life physical, sexual and loving relationship, and have such children in presence of such possibility as being greatest life joy, in absence as greatest life joy of having non-obstructed sexual activity by presence of pregnancy, advanced one, or presence of small kids that need to be cared for, which is a parallel joy of equal magnitude, then that is what has to take form of realization, mutual one, that there is a limit, that both of those persons have someone who can provide greater love corresponding to such love as obsession. So obsession is wanted, that adoration is wanted, because a source of being sole source of offspring, or such potential to be loved for life as such, in absence of such possibility, wanting amongst all of activities to spend them or share them together, that person actually becomes above all else, instead of being unilaterally obsessed, life partner being equally obsessed with that person. If that is not possible and sex needs to be always considered, we form a statement, if possible, into for others, to not to force relationship based on fondness, familiarity, or convenience. That is as such, because past, regardless of past intents at relationships that ended in such conclusion, or mind content that ended in such impossibility conclusion, the statement is as such. From now on, we place date forward. I do not want, and it is so help me God if person is religious, or to the best of my mind content and all senses and knowledge and emotional states, sexual, physical, or loving relationship derived from such, as well as children, with, and we specify the name, and it is not going to change. In also assurance that that person is in no way constricted by rules of fidelity, or obliged to love or respect or desire I, and free to pursue also material goods, being independent and or relationships with others. And such with as team, because I seek for teams in the area per each client determined to resolve a stalking situation or reports, or obsessive love disorder reported as such, we resolve by placing announcements to parents, friends, childhood friends, college friends, co-workers and others, that this is such and it is not going to change. So persons are unwelcomed to force that or enforce that as couple, or divide goods as such, or impede or divide work based on primal basic instinct, sexual natural law, and also are unwelcomed based on that statement to impede pursuit each of preferred and preferring ideal primal based on sexual love and pursuit of children life partners, that it should be combined, child love sex in one, and in intensity, in reciprocity and seriousness in the other, combined, to yield best effects. And so then we publish that in press, in mass media, in others, in a non-accusatory, non-offensive way. And again, it needs to be truthful, meaning mind content corresponds and physical impression to such. And I already described how to determine that. The next will be other terms first pertinent to so-called sexual predators or predators, that in majority are males, and then females who behave as such in secondary pursuit of enabling pursuit of that male.